Hi, this is Mrs. May. Today we're going to talk about fractions with unlike denominators. So as we look here, what you're going to learn, it says with unlike denominators. What does that mean? Well, it means that you have a different denominator for each fraction. So if we were adding, let's say, 3/4 plus 2/3, you can see that these two denominators are not the same, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. For adding and subtracting, unlike fractions, we've got some steps here that you'll want to pause the video to write down. Rename the fractions with a common denominator, then you add or subtract, and then you simplify. This is the difficult part. Step 1, renaming the fractions with a common denominator. You have to find the least common multiple, meaning when you're looking at 3, and you're looking at 4 and you're thinking about, okay, I know 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. When I count by threes, those are called multiples. 4, 8, 12. I can stop right away as soon as I have something in common because it's the least common denominator. So we're looking at the least common multiple, the least common denominator. Those words mean the same thing. We're talking about the same number. And you need to find those numbers in order to proceed with adding or subtracting first. So I'm going to erase this. So we have determined that our least common denominator is 12. That means I need to change my fraction 1/3 into 12. If I look at this, first of all, negative 1/3, and I want to get negative 1/3 into 12. So my denominator went from 3 to 12. How did it get there by multiplying? We multiplied by 4. So if you multiply 3 times 4, you get 12. That means you have to multiply this 1 right here by 4. So we multiply by 4 here to get to a new numerator of 4. So again, 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 4 times 1 is 4. That's where those numbers come from. We are subtracting a negative 3/4, but remember, we want to get this into 12. 4 times 3 is 12. So therefore, we need to do 3 times 3, which is 9. And this is a negative 9/12. Look at that. So we got a negative 9/12. And what we're going to do is do what's called adding the opposite. If you remember back from our integers unit, we don't really subtract, we add the opposite when we have integers. So we've got a negative 4/12 plus a positive 9/12. We have our denominator just carries over, that stays the same. And then you just really look at the numerator. What is negative 4 plus 9? Well, negative 4 plus 9 is 5. And then make sure it's the simplest form. Remember, when your greatest common factor is 1, you are done. So as we look at the factors of 5 and we think about the factors of 12, the greatest common factor they have in common is 1. So we are done with that. Here we've got denominators on the second problem of 6 and 2. And you can certainly think about your multiples of 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and continue on and on. And then the multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. The first number that they have in common is the 6. So we've got negative 5/6. That can just stay the same. You can turn this negative 1/2 into a negative 3/6. And again, how do we get there? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. We got to bring this negative sign down here. So we have negative 5/6 plus negative 3/6. Remember that you don't add the denominators, they just stay that way. And negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. This is not in simplest form. There's a couple of different ways you can go about approaching this problem. You can take negative 8/6 and first of all turn that into a mixed number, or you can just divide by their greatest common factor right now, which is 2. So if you've got this negative 8/6, I'm just going to move it down here. Divide by 2, divide by 2. This is going to leave you with 4/3 and negative 4/3. And this is still not in simplest form. Negative 4/3 is an improper fraction. We need to turn that into a mixed number where we end up with negative 1 and 1/3. Here is like when we were doing adding or multiplying and dividing with fractions and mixed numbers, we have the same step. Change your mixed numbers to an improper fraction and follow the rules. So going from negative 3 1/2 into an improper fraction, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Those are negative sign there, so negative 7/2. Plus 8 1/3, we've got 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Denominator stays the same. From here, this is that one extra step, but from here you just follow the rules that we had from the other page. So we don't have a common denominator. The least common denominator for 2 and 3 would be 6. So we need to change these fractions into 6. I'm going to lose my negative sign, so I add that down there. We've got 2 times 3, we know is 6. So 2 times 3, we're doing multiplying that by 3. That means we have to do 7 times 3. 21. 3 times 2 is that 6 that we needed for a denominator. 25 times 2 is 50. We're adding. So when we add, bring your denominator over. We've got a negative 21 plus 50. That's a positive 29. This is an improper fraction, so we need to make this into a mixed number. 29, 6 goes, if you think about this as 29 divided by 6, 6 goes into 29 4 times, and there are going to be 5 left over. Your denominator stays the same. One way to check this is just to go back. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 5 is 29, and your denominator is the same. So that's just a way to double check and make sure that you did it correctly. I'd like for you to pause the video and try this second problem, and then we'll go over the answers. So again, start with changing from a mixed number into an improper fraction, and then proceed from there. Okay, hopefully you followed through and stopped the video and paused that to come up with the same answer that I did. 2 3/4 was changed into 11/4. 6 1/3, we changed that into 19/3. Noticing that 3 and 4 are not the same denominator, we change that into 12ths. 12 is the least common denominator. So as we take this 4 times 3 to get to 12, we also had to do 11 times 3, which is 33. 3 times 4 is 12, and then 19 times 4 is 76. So a little bit of work there. And then you'll notice I changed the problem down here to add the opposite. It was originally 33/12 minus 76/12, but then I did add the opposite so that I had an addition problem. Carried my 12 denominator to the end here. We've got 33 plus a negative 76 is negative 43. This is an improper fraction. And then I took it and changed that from an improper fraction into a mixed number, negative 3 and 7/12. Hopefully you were successful all the way through with that one. Here are some example problems that I want you to try for next time. So pause the video, write these down, figure them out. Remember the steps. You have to have a common denominator. To do that, find the least common multiple or least common denominator. Add or subtract like you normally would. Remember that once you find that common denominator, your denominators will stay the same throughout the problem. And then the very last step is simplify when you need to. Good luck!